Good evening, parents. It is Dr. K here with our next round of Parent Academy. It is Monday, February the 27th. This is our last Parent Academy for the month, and I have a special treat for you. Joining us today to talk all things Next Prep is the phenomenal Riley Foster. She's going to share a slide deck with you that talks all about Next Prep and what we have planned for the high school. So without further ado, let me introduce to you Riley Foster.
Thanks, Dr. K. Hi, everybody. I'm really excited to get to chat with you today about Next Prep. I'm going to share my screen here and give you all some insight into what we've got going on at the high school.
Great.
All right. So we all know that the goal of high school is to prepare young people for what's coming next. But in St. Louis right now, that's only happening for 1 in every 10 students. So we have all this data, and what it's telling us is that 9 in 10 students in St. Louis will not complete any type of degree after high school. That means no certification, no associate's degree, or no bachelor's degree. But what we also know is that a lot of students are going and starting those degrees and leaving. And so what ends up happening is that we have a lot of students who are earning barely more than if they just completed high school, but they're paying upwards of 30 to 50% of their income towards student loan debt. And so this is obviously a crippling problem that has a lot of ramifications for our kids. And at the same time, there's so much opportunity right now. So what's shifted in our economic landscape is that employers are valuing skills as much as they are degrees today. And so we have the ability to prepare students for a wide range of living wage careers, but most of that preparation right now is only happening for adults in St. Louis, not for high school students. And so this graphic has some examples of high demand skilled careers and how long they take to complete. So for example, a dental hygienist assistant, it's a $41,000 starting salary, and this green box means that it takes 1 year of training. And these are just a handful of examples. And then again, like I said, we're seeing that these professional skills are the most important piece for employers, and students or people with really high level professional skills can access great jobs really without any degrees or certifications, because employers are willing to invest in them upfront and then pay or train them accordingly. And so we take all of this information, the solution we have created is this program called Next Prep. So our mission in Next Prep is to empower St. Louis high school students to pursue the post-secondary, which just means after high school, the post-secondary pathway that will allow them to meet their personal education, income, and life goals aligned with what they've identified as their purpose. Because we believe that every student has the right to lead a self-sufficient and choice-filled life. And so this diagram going on here is basically just showing how many different ways there are to get to what we call a good job, which is just defined as a job that provides you with a living wage. Again, based on what students' desires are. And so we partner with schools like Kairos and with employers to take students through this 4-year program that includes self-discovery, career exploration, professional skills training, and work-based learning, all of which we found the research shows are really critical to preparing students for what comes after high school. And so here's our model. In year 1, students are engaging in 10 off-campus workshops, and they're having Next Prep coaching sessions in between that are geared towards building self-awareness and starting this career exploration process in depth. And the year culminates, students will have built really close cohort relationships. They'll understand what their options are. And through this deep dive in immersive career exploration, including lots of site visits to employers, they will pick 2 to 3 career pathways that they want to dive deeply into during 10th grade. So that brings us to 10th grade. In 10th grade, students will actually take a Next Prep elective as part of their regular class schedule. So part of this year is that they'll complete a year-long career research project into the 2 to 3 pathways that they selected the previous year. So that would include doing some job shadowing, interviewing professionals in the field, and getting a holistic view of what a job like that would entail, including what education would be necessary for them to get there. Kind of what we're thinking, right, is if you know what career you want, you can backwards plan your education accordingly and be much more likely to persist. And then simultaneously, students are also engaging in a year-long practice-based professional skills training program. So we've drawn from the national leaders in upskilling and professional skilling training programs, and have created these simulations where students will engage to develop high-level professional skills, and not just how to make eye contact or shake hands, but what do you do if you're dealing with a client or a customer in a serious conflict situation? How do you handle that? How do you self-regulate? How do you communicate? And so really building their capacity to engage at a high level. Coming out of this year, students will have picked 1 to 2 career pathways that they want to explore through work-based learning in 11th and 12th grade. So in those final 2 years, student schedules become more personalized. So they're still working with this one-on-one coach, and then they're completing the coursework that's relevant for their post-secondary path. So it's going to look a little different depending on which path each student chooses, but regardless, they're building their capacity to graduate high school either with the degree or certification they need, or close to having that degree or certification if it's something that needs to be completed after having a high school diploma. And so I just wanted to give a couple of quick examples of what that trajectory could look like for an individual student, because this is all very abstract. So for example, take Jada. She starts Next Prep 4 years ago. On the left, you can see her freshman year. She identifies her strengths, her interests, and her activator. And she decides to explore careers in human services and communications, which is super broad. But then in 10th grade, she has the ability to narrow that focus. And she decides to choose to pursue journalism because she's done some job shadowing and conducted some interviews. And then in the professional skills component, she's really learned how to hone her leadership qualities and develop her critical thinking. And so in the end, she comes out of 10th grade and she chooses to pursue journalism with digital marketing certifications so that she can work part-time while she's on her 4-year college path. And so then junior and senior year, she's working towards both getting those digital marketing certifications and getting some of her general education requirements done for her bachelor's degree, working alongside her Next Prep coach to identify the right fit colleges. And then in the summers, she's getting paid internships, participating in the St. Louis internship program. And then she graduates with close to an associate's degree under her belt and is able to work part-time with digital marketing in college, since we know almost all students have to work while in college. So I won't go into huge depth, but same concept for a student who decides to go into technology, takes an internship, turns it into a job because he's earned all these, certifications through Google during his Next Prep class. And then a third student who decides to go the skilled trades route and explore machining, again, leveraging experiences with St. Louis youth jobs, participating in another summer learning experience with a local community college or trade school, and then complete some certifications online during his Next Prep class senior year and your junior and senior year, and then is able to graduate straight into the precision machining program at SWIC. And so just a few different examples of how Next Prep can apply, whether a student is ready for a 4-year degree, maybe they're going to start an associate's degree, maybe they just want an industry recognized credential, but setting them up for a concrete next steps after high school.
Love it.
Any questions, Dr. K?
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. What I appreciate that you shared with all of our stakeholders is the similarity between Kairos and Next Prep. When you said that Kairos helps to try to prepare scholars to live choice-filled life. we always think about creating scholars to be self-directed, independent learners. And this is why Next Prep is such a great program to really partner with us, because we're aligned on that same vision and that goal. What I do want to ask is, with you being one of our Next Prep instructors, what is the highlight of the program thus far? So this is our inaugural year. We have a good semester under our belt. We have committed to doing this program next year. And since you are in the midst of all of it, what are some highlights and some things that you can pull out and share with our Kairos family that are unique to us and things that you've seen in the classroom?
Yeah, that's a great question. So we split the so to back up, we've revised the model a little bit for next year, but so this year we've been with ninth grade in the classroom. The first semester was really focused on this building of self-awareness, analyzing strengths. Students took this aptitude and interest mapper called U-Science, which provided them with a lot of information. And then this semester, we've been diving into the career exploration side. Mm-hmm. And what I've really enjoyed seeing is how much ownership students have taken over the research and sharing information process. So we have basically put the onus on students to drive their discovery around different careers. So what we've been bringing people in and taking students out to trips, but in the interim of those things happening, students have been doing this 2-day project cycle. The first day, they work in a small group to research the career that they've selected from the cluster. So we present them with the cluster, which is defined by Missouri, and several really high leverage career paths within that cluster. Each group picks one. They go through a research process that we've, structured. And then on the second day, we take one representative from each small group, and they come together and they have a formal structure for sharing what they've learned and reflecting. And so it's this consistent research, reflect, share, reflect, discuss cycle. And it's been cool to watch kids as we've started to introduce peer feedback, like start to get more engaged and take ownership. And to your point about Kairos's focus on executive functioning skills, we think this is really building their capacity to be self-driven learners.
Absolutely. You named two things that I know our parents are super excited to learn a little bit more about. You said trips and you said projects. What have been some of the most exciting trips that they have gone on that have been the most well received from the scholars? And even from the other side, when we introduce them to employers or different opportunities, what have been some of the things that really stand out to you as being gems?
Definitely. Well, we kicked off this year, as most parents will know, with a trip out to Camp Wyman for some team building. And I actually just got an email from their leadership saying, like, we loved having you. Are we going to be able to have you all again next year? So that was just a fun start. One of the things we want to, this process can be really overwhelming to think about what's next. And a lot of our scholars are experiencing a lot of anxiety. And so we want to make this fun. Other trips we've taken, I took a group to the forensic science department at SLU, and they got to do a lab with some of the college kids, which was pretty neat.
I love that.
We took a trip to the BJC hospital, has this resource trailer where students come for 3 hours and they get to do part exploration into the skilled trades, namely in construction and contracting, with Tarleton, which is on BJC's campus. And then they get to go into the hospital and speak with a doctor and talk about the medical side of things. I took a group of students to Goldfarb School of Nursing, and we looked into all their simulation labs and talked about careers in nursing.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so we've done a bunch, and then we've brought in professionals from the legal field. We have an arts panel coming up. We have a mental health and counseling panel coming up. We brought in real estate. We brought in on Thursday and Friday, I'm very excited. We're bringing in a gentleman named Andrew Crow, who one, has a great story, but two, has a really cool legacy in advanced manufacturing, which sounds kind of obscure, but it has a really big presence locally, and it's largely around 3D printing nowadays. And so he's bringing his trailer with 3D printers that students will get to explore. So lots of good stuff. And we've got a career fair coming up on March 16th that parents are invited to. So we'll be pumping that as well.
Wonderful. What I definitely want to share is that your passion permeates through the screen. You look invested, you seem happy, and that same kind of energy is what we want to transfer to our scholars when they leave class. I know that we recently asked them on one of our post checks, what did they enjoy most? And they hands down said next prep. And so my final question to you, Riley, as we get ready to wrap this up, is what excites you most about Next Prep when you think about the future and what this opportunity will allot for our scholars?
Oh, so many things. I am really passionate about this. I think that the reason that I fell in love with teaching is because I love seeing people come into themselves. And I love that Next Prep doesn't box students into any type of future. It really opens the door to whatever it is that makes sense for, it's like passion, but also realism combined.
Yeah.
I am really excited for when we get students in these simulations next year and then are able to connect them to internships and see the work they're doing in the classroom pay off with that real world experience. I think that's coming so soon and I'm very excited for it.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Riley, for telling our parents and getting our new students kind of excited about what they can look forward to when they join our dynamic team here at Kairos Academy. I do want to go ahead and do a shameless plug for our next Parent Academy. We have one more. It is coming up next Tuesday. So we're moving away from Monday. We're going to do it on Tuesday, March 7th. It will be at the same time from 5 to 6, but this time we're going to have two special guests. We're going to have Dr. Graham, and he is going to bring in Julie, who is an outside consultant that helped us with our great places to work. So when we think about Kairos holistically, we want to attract great talent, and we also want to make sure that our scholars and our parents are feeling like they have a robust overall collective experience that permeates all of their dreams and provides them with a stellar academic experience. So until next time, we hope that you have a great evening, and thank you so much for joining myself and Riley Foster here to learn more about Kairos and Next Prep.